And we are live with Nick Black in 3, 2.
Beep, 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 beep. Beep. You know what that last one was for?
Is that for our
your
colleagues?
brain?
Is that what?
It was.
That's what
it was
is?
to go
Okay.
into the Jello pudding that's your brain. What's your favorite pudding?
Gotta
You know
say,
you have a favorite.
banana. It's banana for sure.
Ugh.
Banana.
Ugh. Do you have it with those Nilla wafers?
That would be the best. Oh my gosh! Now you're talking. Now you're talking dream. Good stuff, Nick. Good stuff. Thanks for mentioning. That's a really good idea.
Vomitus Maximus.
I honestly think you're one of those closed-minded individuals, Nick, who just
It doesn't like Nilla wafers. Why don't they call them vanilla wafers? They thought they'd get sued by the vanilla lobby. That's why. Big Vanilla would come after him.
Vanilla has a trademark on vanilla. I'm so sure. Nick,
you're
way off base here. You need to open up your mind. Maybe think about the bigger picture here, and that there are other people other than yourself.
Who are you working for, Brandon? Are you working for Big Vanilla?
I'm working for Big Vanilla. Yes. We
You
have
don't cross-
lobbyists all over the world, baby.
You don't cross Big Vanilla.
Hey, we got vanilla beans everywhere, and we're watching you, so
Ooh.
whatever.
You know what the difference is between vanilla ice cream and French vanilla?
Yeah,
nothing. freaking nothing. They put more yellow in the French vanilla, and they're like, this is very special. If you have the French vanilla, it tastes way better than the regular vanilla. So terrible Americans eat regular vanilla, but the French vanilla is the best vanilla.
Are you their salesman? Oh my gosh!
I work for Big French Vanilla.
You gave away your night job right now. French Vanilla salesman. Good show today, Nick. Look at this stuff. What we got?
We're killing it. Well, we'll also on the American Institute for Crypto Investors and Ice Cream Flavor Tester America, we will cover Reddit is getting into the NFT space. Do you know who they're using?
Yeah, Polygon.
Yeah, you know what they're not using?
Ethereum.
Yeah. So you won't be getting Reddit NFT.eth. Nope.
Once again with your closed-minded laughter.
I think you're just a degen market chaser, but you know what? I respect that.
Thank you.
Somebody's got to chase these dang.
I'm happy with
Someone's got to chase these dang markets, right? Like we can't all just wait to win. I mean, unless you want to be a competent investor, I guess you can. But sometimes it's okay to chase these early markets. Early people in DeFi. Degen. Who would have thought that? Early people in the DeFi space made currency units, but most of them didn't get out and actually keep their currency units, so they got blown up. Early people in the ICO craze made money. Most of them couldn't get out. They got blown up. This is like a constant thing. If you're early adopter, the problem is there's so many false starts, especially in the crypto space. Very difficult to know if what you're doing looks like something grandiose and fantastic, or if it looks like Celsius. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve, those geniuses, that box, that brain mint over there, weighing in on the CBDC, central bank digital currencies. Funny that they would have an opinion on central bank anything, since they're not a central bank. We're going to talk about a potential Bitcoin black swan event, like what could really crush the price of Bitcoin, depending on how it's implemented. This has been hanging over the crypto space since 2014. You know what I'm talking about?
Mount Gox. Is that what you're talking about?
MT Gox, bro. Do you know what?
That's
I know
what
you know this.
Yeah.
Do you know what Mount MT Gox stands for?
I bought the ETH name, but no.
Wait a minute.
I'm just kidding. I didn't.
You don't know what it stands for?
MT Gox. It's not Mount Gox. What is it?
It is Mount Gox, but do you know what Mount Gox stands for?
No.
Oh Christ,
Fill me
man!
in, dude. Fill me
Magic the Gathering online exchange. Yes.
Wait, for real? You just
yes.
blew my flipping mind. What?
This is why people were like, man, I can't believe it wasn't secure. You mean you can't believe the exchange to trade your Magic the Gathering playing cards wasn't fit for purpose for hundreds of millions of dollars worth of internet money? Yeah, crazy, right? So anyway, there was a big hacking event. Hacking. We'll talk about that. The hack may not have been a hack. It was very suspect, right? Like, we'll get into it. Anyway, we'll talk about that finally the investors that had lost money in the hack are getting some tokens back and what that might mean if they dump them on the market or how that's going to go down. We're going to talk about MakerDAO stablecoin loan lending to, guess who they lent to?
Celsius.
No, man. Oh, well, they probably did. Oh God, the Celsius thing continues to unravel. Have you seen the news? They lent some degen creeps that they didn't even know on a handshake. I'm not kidding. On a handshake deal, $500 million. So they could go spend, and this was investor money from Celsius, deposits, $500 million. Alex Mashinsky, here you go with your monies. $500 million to some degen Twitter DeFi fund so they could trade it. And they said, and Alex told them, don't worry, I'm hedging. You do what you do. We make rich. We all make rich. Sure. Oh, surprise. Do you want to know how this ends? Do you want to know? Do you want to? Horribly. Do you want to know how much they made off that 500 million?
Negative 500 million.
Negative 390 million.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good.
Wah, wah. I wish I had that sound. That's like the proverbial. So then, and this is the cherry on top. We're not even going to cover this article. Just real quick, that group of dirtbags is suing Celsius for defrauding investor. Well, they obviously were doing that, but they're suing them because they had part of the handshake. Here's $5 million and they managed money for, I don't know, just shy of 2 years, I guess. Part of the deal was you pay us fees. Fees? You pay us fees. You took 500 and turned it into 110 million. Hey, check this out. Brandon, you know how you make 110 million in crypto?
You start with 200 million and lose half.
You start with 500 million.
Yep.
So it's insanity. That same firm is suing them for a variety of things, which of course they're probably right. But essentially Celsius had told them, Alex said, I will hedge all of your craziness. Well, the whole point is if Alex and the team of dummies at Celsius knew how to hedge and knew how to play the DeFi game, for instance, if you don't understand DeFi, if you understand it so little that you secretly take 500 million bucks and give it to dudes whose name on Twitter is OX39 whatever, if that's your strategy at Celsius, does anybody think somehow you know how to hedge that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. If these anonymous dudes that you gave $500 million to are doing stuff so crazy you don't understand it, how do you at the same time know how to hedge it? Stupid. So again, just insane behavior at Celsius. And people are like, oh, they're paying back their debts. No, they borrowed money from somebody else to pay off an over-collateralized loan to free up capital. For instance, you know how over-collateralized lending works? Brandon, do you get that?
Yeah, oh yeah. They loan it out to somebody who loans it out to somebody who loans it out. It's basically loaned out 10 times on the same asset.
No,
right?
well, that does happen too, but that's more about rehypothecation. What I'm talking about is you put up $10, say, of collateral to borrow $1. Right? Okay, it's essentially a credit line. So, sometimes when you go to a bank and you establish a new banking relationship, they'll say, listen, if you want a $2 million line of credit, we need $2 million. You're like, what? Like, yeah, man. We need money on the other, like it's secured line of credit. You're securing it with cash. Well, this is in crypto world. That's actually pretty normal. Like right now on Nexo, you can go get an over collateralized loan. I could take $5 million worth of ADA and I could go borrow $1 million against it and pay 0%, by the way, for zero. Why? Well, because they're going to collect They're going to collect the staking rewards I would have collected, which is between 5 and 7%. They're getting 5 or 7%. Okay, you get it. Anyway, so that's an over collateralized loan. Well, Celsius has paid off some over collateralized loans, which frees up all that collateral that they owe everywhere else for all sorts of like quasi criminal behavior. And now they're going to go fight that in court. What a dumpster. This is a dumpster fire they're pouring like a nuclear radiation on top of it. It's just every day it's so laughably bad that it doesn't even make sense. I saw a little meme. Did you see the Do-Kwon meme in like the Squid Games?
No.
It shows like the two dudes sitting on a park bench, and it's like in the beginning one where they're all getting to know each other and they got their little green jumpsuits, and one guy's asking Do-Kwon, "Hey, why are you here? I thought you were financially stable." Anyway, God, yeah.
I'm looking it up. I'm trying to look it up and see if I can.
It's awesome. Look, this is good. I think that the fact that all of these weird, stupid, Ponzi-nomic, dumpster fire, trash can, garbage sauce companies are imploding on themselves is awesome. Now, you're going to hear a lot of this. For those of you, for instance, show me in the chat. I'd love to see how many of you have gotten recent blowback from family and friends et al. About all of the crypto stuff. You get the people that watched you, for instance, I will give you my version of it is I quit talking about crypto with friends and family ever because, I was early. So I made a lot of currency units and a lot of people FOMO'd in late. I told everyone in my family all last year, stay out of crypto and don't ask me questions because I'm not going to help you. And they're like, well, we're going to do this and did it. I said, you can do whatever you want. I don't even know if you are my family. I haven't done 23andMe. I'm not even sure I wasn't just dropped on the doorstep by some super evil genius. What is it? Stork? A stork drops evil genius babies from other planets. I don't know how it works. But anyway, I question my genetic relationships. Well, they're all like, now they're like, hey, how you doing? What do you mean how I'm doing? How you doing? Because crypto's down by, whatever. I'm like, bro, I got in in 2015 and 16 and 17. Well, I didn't really start materially investing until 17. When Bitcoin was $690, I'm doing fine, grandma. F off. Make sure that stupid fruitcake doesn't show up on my doorstep for Christmas. How about that? How about you focus on that? Let me focus on crypto. Thanks. But you see a lot, and you also see a lot of the naysayers, a lot of the traditional financial people. Oh, well, looks like crypto's the true colors. True colors. Bitcoin is still the most appreciating asset in human history. This is not a small thing. I feel like people miss this. Like an idiot, I was on Clubhouse yesterday, and this traditional financial guy, nice guy, I guess, he was being real argumentative. He's like, I can't use my discounted cash flow model and find a value for Bitcoin. It doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, does the internet make sense to you, bro? Like, there's a lot of people, you're never going to convince them, and that's not your job. I guess I'm going to reduce all this. No one here has to convince anybody else about crypto. You don't even, if you like the space, if you like digital assets, some of those are cryptocurrencies. Most of them are not. Most of them are various kinds of weird assets. Some of them are kind of weird financial products. Whatever the case, this whole disintermediated space, if you believe that the future looks more disintermediated than right now, that's probably why you're in the space. But don't argue with people. It'll just wear you out, because from a distance, nobody says, look at that smart guy arguing with that idiot. They just say, look at those two idiots, right? You can't win an argument. There's no point. You can try to have discourse and dialogue. It's pointless. All you have to do is square it away in your own mind. Just square it away in your own mind. And I was trying to discuss this with this finance manager. He goes, I manage family money. I said, that's cool. I consult hedge funds and da da da. He goes, why would a hedge fund want to know about crypto? I'm like, are you insane? Because Bitcoin, as the first of these assets, is the most appreciating asset in human history. And guess what? There's about another 7 billion people that digital assets and disintermediation may help. 7 billion potential users. I think there's a lot of value in that. So he posed this question to me, and I'm going to pose it to the chat, and I'm going to pose it to you, Brandon. Okay. You can have either Apple at $9 a share. You ready? Get on the air. Come on the screen. Come on the screen, Brandon. Let's see. I want to see your reaction.
You want to see this? You want to see this? Okay.
All right. Do you believe in Apple, the company? You like the phones and stuff?
Oh, not even in the slightest. I never support Apple products, nor do I buy them in any way, shape, or form. I don't like that. Sorry. Use a different example.
You can have
Samsung. Let's do Samsung.
Apple's. Okay. You can have Samsung. What does Samsung stock trade at?
I don't love them that much.
Oh God, man, you're killing this. Most people know.
All right, let's go to Apple. Let's go to Apple. Okay,
Apple.
Let's just say, for instance, I want to buy into that ecosystem and get trapped there forever on a product that is basically 3-year-old tech, and I want to use that continually. Okay, let's go to Apple.
Got it. It's weird that you have this whole weird religious thing, but that's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Religion, cool. Politics, Apple, and crypto. Just like I mentioned in the chat, things we don't talk about around the dinner table.
When I'm cleaning my shotgun, I talk about how much I hate my Apple shares.
Apple. We don't talk about Apple, okay?
Okay. Anyway. Apple's about 90 and change a share. I'm going to offer you A or B. $9 Apple shares, $9. So 10% of the price, $9 or $2,000 Bitcoin. Let me hear it.
Go on.
What would you do? And I want to hear what the chat would do. So the question is, Apple at $9 or Bitcoin?
Okay.
Same thing. Both at a 90% clip. 90%. At 10%, the current price, what, $2,100 and almost $2,200. Okay. And so when I told him this guy went nuts. I mean, he effing flipped. And he goes, well, how can you can't discount, you can't value. I said, because I think there's a value in the network, and I think there's a value in these expanding availability of disintermediation and distributed systems, digital, well, I would say a different kind of digital finance, right? The legacy system to the disintermediated system. I think that Bitcoin makes more sense for me. And I'm not all Bitcoin tattoo, Bitcoin a tick. I'm not a Bitcoin a tick. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. But I think that Bitcoin, it does a lot of very interesting things. And I think the distributed asset space, decentralized, I think that middlemen, fat, rich white dudes being replaced by middleware, algorithmic integrity makes sense to me. And it probably makes sense for the rest of the flipping world. And people that use phones, not these old haggard, sorry if it sounds ageist, but if you went to school in 1960, you may have trouble understanding the world that we now live in. It might not make sense to you, right? People that have grown up where this is their communication device for the whole planet Earth, look at the world differently. We see everything in real time. We're not waiting for Fox News to tell us what happened 4 days ago along the Russian-Ukrainian border. No, man, you watch it in real time. We watch the whole world in real time. We live in a different world. And even if you don't like the crypto space, you don't like it, you still have to open your eyes. And the people that don't get beat, and those people are bitter. And so to reduce all this, don't argue with people about crypto because they're mad. They're either mad because they missed it, they're mad because they don't get it, or they're mad because somehow you get it and they don't, and they think you're so stupid, you're so dumb, you're like, fine, man, I guess I'm dumb. I'm rich, but I guess I'm dumb. I told this guy, he's go, whoa, how much I said, look, bro, it doesn't matter. We're not at the urinal at the movie theater. We're not like comparing whatever. So Not that you should do that at a urinal. That'd probably get you in trouble.
What on earth are you talking about?
You don't ever see, like, you're at the urinal.
What are you doing?
People talk about movies. What did you think I was saying?
I was talking about... Okay. Whatever, dude.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Brandon.
Okay.
People give movie reviews. What did you guys think? You guys are getting creepy. Listen, don't argue about crypto. There's no point. What you have to do is be able to sleep at night with the assets that you own. You also have to sleep at night if you feel like you're a little bit late to the party. If you feel like you're early and you're trepidatious, you have to resolve all of these things for any investment, but especially in the digital asset space where we're making a bunch of assumptions, right? And these are all weak assumptions. But you know what? The rest of the world, those are weak assumptions too, because they're assuming a lot of things about these companies. You can use your discounted cash flow model, and if that's the way you define value, that's fine. But value, intrinsic value, is a weird kind of nebulous, very, very subjective argument that different people make in different ways. And so you have to be careful. Just don't allow yourself to be sucked into those arguments. The only person that has to understand these things is you. You, Brandon. Not the rest of you, just Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
you put this little... Okay, we got a lot to cover here. I'm gonna throw this first thing on the screen because
Let's do it.
We're getting sidetracked a little bit here.
Are we?
Talk about the Reddit.
Is this sidetracking
NFT,
or is this?
This isn't. No, because basically you're down to urinal talk, and I think that's a sidetrack. Yes. So
it's weird that you went back there.
We're at the... Well, I thought you were going to offer me flipping $2,000 in Nilla wafers instead of $2,000 in crappy Bitcoin, but whatever.
You'd rather have Nilla wafers
every day of the week. The investment is solid. Okay, the investment is solid. Reddit will launch NFTs on Ethereum Polygon.
Isn't that weird how they said that? That's not quite...
Now that I'm reading it, I've read it like I never liked on Ethereum's Polygon.
On Ethereum's Polygon, you say, wait a minute, English, please. So Reynaldo, this is written by Reynaldo Marquez, and Reynaldo, we love you, but no, maybe tenemos que practicar inglés, por favor, antes escribiendo sus artículos. Gracias. Okay, popular social media platform Reddit, where this is where good ideas go to die, will launch a new feature called collectible avatars. These blockchain-backed items are non-fungible tokens. They're they're selling NFTs. I think there's 90 different versions of them. Have you read about this, Brandon?
Not even in the slightest. No.
So
sorry.
Yeah, there are. I will say this. There's some funny stuff on Reddit. What happens is somebody will make a comment and then 4 or 5 people will just degrade the comment down to dust, and it gets really funny. There's this kind of way that they just make everyone feel awful about everything. Surprise, surprise. But there's some really funny stuff on there. However, don't get your investment advice on Reddit, because that's like maybe worse than Clubhouse, which I don't know if you can be worse than Clubhouse. But anyway, so these blockchain-based NFTs are running on Polygon. These are they're going to be issued to Polygon. They're not running on Ethereum's scalability solution, Polygon. Look, Polygon is a layer 2-ish, but the way I look at Matic in my mind is starting to become a layer 1. If you're issuing assets directly on Polygon, it kind of takes on the flavor of a layer 1. Have you messed with Matic at all? Have you messed with Polygon, Brandon?
Yeah, I have. It's actually kind of, it's nice. It offers the same functionality, and the only downside with Matic is the scams and stuff. But it offers the same functionality as Ethereum. Everything sends cheaper. It's easier to transact. It's a good network, in my opinion. It doesn't get congested like Solana. There's no problems with it that way, and so I've been happy with Matic. Besides,
I have been too. I'm actually considering
issues
because we're launching. We're doing our Sticks launch. And our whole point is like it's an almost free launch. We're trying to make it like less than $10 a piece.
Oh yeah.
So we're trying to be like, well, we can't charge $10 for an NFT and $40 in fees.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, well, maybe we should launch through Matic. So anyway, this is like the considerations you have before you roll out a floppy product. Anyway, Reddit is going to use, it makes a lot of sense for Reddit, but there's been rumors around Reddit launching NFTs since 2021. It's part of a series of steps for Reddit members to empower themselves and also to empower this kind of self-managed community. And obviously, self-managed is very interesting. DAOs are very interesting. You could reduce that to democracy is very interesting. Like this kind of group idea that individual dummies, if you put enough individual dummies together, you somehow get some intelligent thought out of it. I'm not sure that makes sense because, like, what is democracy, right? It's two wolves and a lamb voting on dinner. So, but anyway, the social media has been increasing in crypto and blockchain capability. So this group, Reddit, is going to allow these NFTs. You'll be able to buy them. You'll be able to collect these avatars. And they're actually setting a price. Now, this is the early price, right? The beginning price will be between $9 and $90, the way I understand it. Of course, they're going to immediately go to some secondary market and start being flipped. You can just assume that. The question is, how many degens are left in the NFT space? I think most of them went away. Most of them got nuked, had to go back to work. Listen, those pizzas aren't going to deliver themselves. So the NFT market's taking punishment. But what it is good for is good for Polygon. It's good for Polygon. It's, again, you're starting to notice Meta, Polygon, Instagram, Polygon, Reddit, Polygon. You're starting to see over and over different companies leveraging Polygon and not Ethereum, which is why I was kind of making fun of you for being deep in ETH addresses. I think that's a cool early market. I think it's, in the long run, it's going to play out to be probably pretty foolish, but we'll see. Anyway, kind of cool. Cool for Matic, the token, by the way, if you want exposure. Matic has great staking. And there's a variety of ways to do it. I actually have my Matic, I think I have it spread between Kraken and Nexo. And I think I get somewhere around 10.5%, something, which is pretty good. If you believe in the project, it makes sense to make a little extra cash. Okay, so good for Matic. For Reddit, I don't know if it moves the needle. Is it going to change the NFT space? Probably not. The NFT space in general has taken a massive beating, but you know what? It needed to. It was inflated with dummies, and some of them have been bankrupted, and I'd say that's pretty healthy. All right, off to the next one.
Yeah, NFT space overbought is like an understatement of the century. Anyway, the American Bankers Association really doesn't want the Fed to issue a CBDC.
So this is, when anybody really looks at it, you're getting traditional bankers. You're getting a lot of entities. You're getting not just bankers, but economists, fiduciaries. Anybody that really looks at the Fed does not want them issuing real money. And it's kind of like them admitting that the Fed doesn't deal in real money. And of course, we know the Fed doesn't deal in real money because, you read their website. They deal in inert bank reserves that only have a weird kind of balance sheet status among prime brokers, broker dealers, whatever you want to call them, the 24 banks in the system. If you're not a broker dealer, bank reserves don't do you any good. And guess what? Even if you are, bank reserves don't do you any good. They don't serve as quality collateral. They do nothing. The Fed doesn't do anything. They are performance art. That is all. But still people believe, except that when you wake up a banker at 3 a.m. and shake him, he knows what the world looks like. And this is bankers being woken up at 3 a.m. and people saying, hey, listen, do you think the Fed should be able to create out of thin air central bank currency, central bank dollars? Well, you would say, well, how would the Fed issue a central bank distributed currency or decentralized currency when the Fed is not a central bank? That would be weird, right? The Fed is not a money printer, and they never have been. So this is very interesting. So a trade association for U.S. banks has pushed back. And I actually read another article this morning that a group of credit unions has gotten together. Now, they have said they don't want any central bank digital currency for the U.S. dollar. They're worried that that they would have to do a bunch of infrastructure spend in order to do it, in which I would say, listen, if you're a credit union and you don't like digital money, you're probably in the wrong business, bro. It's like those people holding on to whale oil. Whale oil is the way. And they're like, yeah, but what about the oil we can pull out of the ground without murdering all these whales? No, you're stupid. Whale oil is the way. You're like, oh, okay. Good luck, whale oil credit union. Anyway, the ABA, American Bankers Association, as well as a number of crypto policy organizations have recently written to the Commerce Department regarding the outlook for U.S. competitiveness in digital assets. The Bankers Association represents many banks across the U.S., is cautioning against a central bank digital currency. However, they're more cautioning against it being issued by the Federal Reserve. And I think that's the real hangup. If the Treasury wants to, they issue debt, they can print dollars. I mean, that's what they do. They have transfer payments. If the Treasury was to release a digital, they will, by the way, there will be a digital dollar from the Treasury. You should hope that the Federal Reserve has nothing to do with it. Because if they do, then you have a real weird situation where you have two money printers in the United States. And then the Federal Reserve does become a central bank. A digital central bank, but they become a central bank. They are not now. It's interesting. The purported benefits of a U.S. central bank digital currency are uncertain, this is their words, and unlikely to be realized while the costs are real and acute, the ABA wrote to the Department of Commerce. They had put in a request, the Commerce Department had put in a request for public commentary. And so this is part of that public commentary. And that's coming off the back of President Biden issuing an executive order saying, hey, guess what? We're going to look at digital assets. We're going to look at regulation. You guys will play ball or else heads will roll. And then he said, my left shoe. And people were like, what? Did you see that yesterday, Brandon?
No.
He was,
What?
look, I like Biden, right? Like, okay, but he was giving a speech and he goes, America can be, the United States can be summed up in one word. And then something happened and he goes, in the left shoe. And they were like, what? And so someone captured just that moment and they wrote, a left shoe. It was awesome. And then it plays like America music. Dun, 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 dun. You're like, oh, God. This is why we look like idiots. The issuance of a CBDC. That's an NFT.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
One word.
Correctly. Don't screw
The issuance of a CBDC would fundamentally rewire our banking and financial system by changing the relationship between citizens and the Federal Reserve. Yes, and this is the heart of the problem. Everybody really not everybody, that's absolutist. Many people in the financial system that really deal in money, they realize that the Federal Reserve doesn't deal in money. The Federal Reserve is 12 private for-profit banks. You don't want those D-bags, by the way, that have been trading against you forever. Powell's got $55 million. Somehow he earned that through just good old-fashioned trading and public service. Like Nancy Pelosi. So you just got to, question the motives here. But other financial institutions and individuals, they don't want the Federal Reserve to actually be able to print money because they know, as many competent bankers know, the Federal Reserve is not a central bank and they don't print money. That's all farce. It's all theater. But some idiots do believe it. Anyway, there are also significant trade-offs that must be made between different choices. These trade-offs are likely to undermine many of the key goals of a CBDC and make it essentially impossible for a CBDC to fulfill all the various purposes for which it is currently being discussed. Well, I think this is more of them saying we'd rather the Treasury do it than the Federal Reserve. I agree 100%. The ABA is a longstanding voice for the banking industry. It reported over $135 million in revenue in their most recent Form 990 from 2019. Its comments came as a U.S. CBDC has increasingly become the subject of political back and forth. Okay, There will be a US digital dollar, period. It's not a, well, we hope that, nope, it will come. I think it will be sooner than later. And because what you don't want is all of these private entities being the issuers of dollars rather than the Treasury Department. And we can have all sorts of arguments about issuing currency and printing currency, but that's going to happen anyway. But what you don't want is US, Tether and all these other sketch companies spinning up wildcat banks and printing dollars out of thin air. And no one, like the individual person, me, you, and Joe Sixpack, not knowing what these things are backed by and not knowing the difference. New entrants into the space, they don't know the difference between USDT, USDC, USD, Dumpsterfire, UST, all this stuff. It just looks like US dollars. Like it's the same as a dollar. You're like, okay, I guess I'll take it. They don't know what's behind it. And so there needs to be auditability. There needs to be clear exposure to what's in the bucket of collateral behind these assets. And I think there needs to be regulation around who can issue and who can't based on that auditability. We'll see. Anyway, very interesting. It's quite overtly hostile towards the Fed. They're basically saying we don't trust these idiots. I think we can agree. Shall we move on?
Yeah, this is the big one. This is the Black Swan event. This is the Mt. Gox thing. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about this thing. They're unlocking 150,000 Bitcoin. This has been locked up for years. People have been wanting this money back. What's going to happen when they dump this on the market? Or is it even going to get dumped on the market?
It's not clear that it's going to get dumped on the market. So first, let's do some background and then we'll bring you up to speed. Bitcoin's Mt. Gox, Magic the Gathering online exchange, they went into a civil rehabilitation. So here's what happened. 2014, matter of fact, I remember waking up to this. We had just gone to a hackathon when I was living in San Francisco. Went to a hackathon. We were actually building a little crypto exchange in 2014. And this is what derailed me from buying Bitcoin. So this hack happens. Okay. At the time, Mark Karpelès was running Mt. Gox, which was a place for trading online trading cards. Maybe it didn't have the security it needed to manage hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, even early day Bitcoin. Anyway, 800,000, and it may say this, but 800,000 Bitcoin goes missing. They say, well, Mark says, we got hacked. So they go and arrest him. He's in Japan, right? They arrest him. The Japanese are like, I don't know if I believe it got hacked, Mark. And so they go and they put cuffs on him. And guess what? He found almost 200,000 Bitcoin. He found it. He's like, oh, look, I found, you know what? Now that you remind me, yeah, not all 800,000 was hacked. Turns out I just found this other, 200,000-ish Bitcoin. Now, a lot of that Bitcoin's been used in the process of selling and funding this civil rehabilitation and all this kind of the lawsuits and everything as everybody sued everybody and da-da-da. Mark Karpelès, I think he's on some kind of weird version of house arrest. So good thing for investors that he found nearly 200,000, which is now about 150,000 Bitcoin, which that always seems suspicious. And I wonder who's going to chop that guy up into pieces and put him in a little suitcase. We'll see. He will end up in some suitcase. I think that's the way this ends. But anyway, so it looks like It looks like somebody worked with some Russians to abscond with the other 600 and change thousand Bitcoin. He also may have legitimately been hacked and then hidden a cold wallet with a lot of Bitcoin and just said it all got gone. And when they arrested him, he goes, oh crap. And then he offered up the 200. So both things can be true. One thing is true. He is a dirtbag of a first order dirtbag. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be swimming, Hot Rod. He may just be, they'd probably poke holes in him, right? You don't want the body to float. Anyway, the prospect of a rumored 150,000 Bitcoin flooding the market. So why are they talking about that? Well, they appointed this attorney, Kobayashi, to handle the civil rehabilitation, to basically figure out who was owed what, who had what, prove what you owe, prove what you received, gave, whatever. Who owes what to everybody. all the investors that lost money, where are you at? And then they said, okay, we have X amount of Bitcoin. We'll distribute those based on the amount of Bitcoin that you had on the exchange, so on and so forth. Okay, so that leaves 150,000 Bitcoin ready to unleash on the markets. And you think, okay, this is going to be bad. Yeah, because the other day, like 650 Bitcoin crashed Bitcoin from 22,000 to 17,000. So could this market absorb that? Absolutely not. And so that would seem grim, right? And so I'll read you the grim news, and then I'll tell you that there's a bit of a silver lining on this. But anyway, Bitcoin faces new selling threat in the near future as users of the defunct exchange MT Gox prepare to get their BTC back. In fresh correspondence dated July 6th, Kobayashi, he's the appointed trustee, he confirmed that he was preparing to make repayments to account holders. They can get a combination of things. They can get cash, they can get Bitcoin, they can get Bitcoin Cash. You say, well, that's not so much. It's like 2%. I mean, it's down 98% since all this happened, because this was before the Bitcoin Cash, all the forks. And they've just been sitting on this Bitcoin. So there's anyway, it's a lot, right? So over 8 years after the MT Gox implosion, it wasn't an implosion, it was a theft on the high internet seas. It appears that those who lost money are about to receive their Bitcoin. Many of these people are freaking wealthy. Think about 2014 Bitcoin prices. That's a good deal. You're still at like a 20x. Worst case scenario, wherever you bought in 2014, I think you're still at like a 20x, 18 to 20x, which is still great, right? So the event has been long coming. Concerns over its impact on the market are also present. The price of Bitcoin at the time was just a fraction of the current. Well, of course, everything's a fraction of something else, right? But anyway, it was 20,000 of the current price, around 21. We're 21,832 as we speak right now. So let's call it 22,000. Anyway, there were suspicions that recipients could instantly sell large amounts of Bitcoin on the market, which would gut the prices. Well, that would be true if that was the case. One, Kobayashi did not give an exact date for repayments. Two, it's likely they're going to lock up all of the recipients until everybody's been given. They can't let some people sell out and other people not. Like the first people to sell out would win, and everybody else, the same as inflation, right? You spend it first, you win, versus inflationary debasement effects to the people that get their money second, right? The Cantillon effect. Well, they don't want that either. They also don't want to crash the market in this whole process, right? That's not good for anyone. So it looks like there was a lot of lump sum repayments, but there's a lot of offers that happened early on where VCs and crypto hedge funds, which we know are both just vultures of a different, feathers, but they had gone in and offered a lot of these people 90% the value of Bitcoin. Now, what's funny is many of these deals were last year when Bitcoin was between 35 and 69,000. So a lot of these people, they've already been paid out. Many, they already took the money. They signed agreements, they took the cash, they're out. So a lot of this Bitcoin will instantly transfer to these funds that are deep in the money in losses. Hopefully they hedged, right? You're a hedge fund, you would hedge, right? If you're buying this at a 90, at 10% discount, you probably put some puts in place, or you sell in the futures market to kind of offset that. We'll see. And maybe just it's a carry trade, right? You just grab that 10% spread. Who knows how they did it, but I'm assuming that there were protections in place. Long story short, lots of this, potentially up to 90% of this Bitcoin has already been sold to funds, VCs and hedge funds. So I don't think it's going to be as nasty as people think, but there will be some selling pressure, right? Everybody's not pro Bitcoin. Probably if I lost my money for 7 years and all of a sudden I was rich, I might be kind of happy. I might want to sell some and buy like 14 houses. You do have, these black swan events. So let me just go over what are the black swan events that could look nasty to Bitcoin. All right. Are you ready? Do we have any like drum roll music? Like black swan drum
dramatic roll? Well,
yeah.
We could do, hold on. We got, what do we have?
Do we have anything good? I want something good.
Nothing
with moxie.
Really. That's the only
something
problem.
With some
legal.
Some brass huevos.
Okay.
Okay, Brandon, jump on. Let me tell you the seven things that could, 7-ish things. And I've actually got an extra one. I think the biggest thing that could screw us is if Michael Saylor buys more Bitcoin, because whenever he buys it, Bitcoin goes down. Number 2, the MT Gox victims finally get their Bitcoin back and they all decide to sell. They're like, F you, Bitcoin, I'm out. Okay. 2, Tether collapses. There's some point where they're unable to redeem. I don't think that's going to fully happen. I think Tether will slowly melt away, but you could see some craziness and some of those Tethery people as they exit Tether, but I believe they would be exiting Tether to get into USDC. I don't know that that affects Bitcoin, but some people think that that could create a precipitous crash in just crypto in general because there's still 60-ish billion in Tether floating out there. That's a possibility, right? We have to give it a non-zero possibility. An invasion of Taiwan. Right. Oh, dog. Good one. Mark Cuban. I'm going to add that. Mark Cuban buys Bitcoin. Ooh, he and Michael Saylor, man, those are the death knell. If Michael Saylor buys, matter of fact, let's throw in Peter Schiff, who just lost his banking. His bank is being taken over and he's being indicted like in Puerto Rico for running like a sketchy bank and not maintaining minimum, minimum amount based on the loans he's floating and all this kind of stuff. So his bank's been shut down. Anyway, so if Peter Schiff, Mark Cuban, or Michael Saylor buy Bitcoin, those are little baby black swans. If the Ukraine issue escalates to something beyond conventional weaponry, right, like nuclear weapons, that would be bad for like.
Well, that's a black swan event for the whole. But yeah, that's outside of the scope of this whole thing. That's like
right. Well, but that would still be bad for crypto.
Okay, so that's you're padding your list right now. Okay.
Yes, going. A total stock market crash.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
True. That's acceptable.
They determined that Satoshi is alive and well and starts moving Bitcoin out of his wallet to sell it. The Genesis wallet that has over 1 million Bitcoin in it.
Perfect. I like that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So that's my list of where we're like down to 10 things. That's my list of 10 things that would suck for crypto. Now, of those 10 things, about 7 of them would suck for the rest of the world.
Oh yeah.
So there we go. Reacting, Ki-Young Ju, CEO of on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant, advised traders to set price alarms for when the payouts begin. It's still quiet for now, he tweeted, while another Twitter user included the MT Gox as the top of the list of black swan events. So what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything right now. It means that could there be selling pressure? Yes, but is about probably 90% of this Bitcoin already been accounted for and sold? Yes. Those buyers are at a loss, hedged or otherwise. They're still at a loss. They're not dumping that Bitcoin. So what does it mean? There's probably 150,000 of the 150,000, probably 15,000 is in play. And my guess is at these prices, that will be gobbled up by VCs and hedge funds, especially if we get further down the road for a spot ETF. All right. I thought that was kind of cool. However, we have a kind of a weird, interesting loan that was made from MakerDAO. Should we go into this real quick?
Yeah, this is big. Yeah,
this is big and it's cool.
151-year-old bank. This is cool. Let's talk about this for a bit.
Do any of you know any 151-year-olds? Like Brandon, you're 151, right?
Give or take. I mean, if you do the maths and subtracts, yeah. Do I look 150? Is it because I'm eating Nilla wafers every day? Is that why I look this old?
I gotta take my teeth out to gum Manila wafers, or they make my or I'll have an involuntary bowel evacuation.
Circle. Nilla wafers.
I don't wear diapers for the. When do you, man? When you start putting on male diapers, oof. I mean, I guess there's a time and a place, right? I thought I would never be a furry, and look at me now. All right. MakerDAO has passed a vote to create a DAI vault, and I don't mean like DAI as in death. I mean DAI, the stablecoin vault for U.S.-based Huntingdon Valley Bank. We'll call them HV Bank. At the launch, the vault will have a debt ceiling of $100 million. So let me just reduce this. We make this real simple. A regular human bank, a conventional bank founded in 1871, is opening a stablecoin vault The vault will work as a system which will allow the bank to borrow DAI tokens after depositing off-chain loans on its balance sheet as collateral. They will be able to collateralize loans. This is an over-collateralized loan. They will be able to accept crypto as collateral for banking operations and other financial tooling, right? This is pretty cool. This is a traditional bank going to a crypto banking apparatus, whatever we think, decentralized financial products might look like. This is a step in the right direction, right? At the launch, the bank will be able to borrow up to 100 million US dollars with the debt ceiling to grow to 1 billion over the next 12 months. A Delaware-based trust company called MakerDAO Bank Participation Trust will co-manage the bank's loan assets on behalf of MakerDAO, basically to make sure that they're not doing any Celsius type activity. This is a traditional bank borrowing from crypto, a traditional bank spinning up what will be $1 billion line of credit against crypto. Pretty cool. And so when the haters crypto will never do this, it'll never do that. Well, for whatever reason, they seem to be bailing out the HV bank. So you're going to see this more and more. Actually, I was talking to a colleague earlier this morning about the idea that is it going to be banks buying crypto lenders, or is it going to be crypto lenders buying banks, or reverse mergers through equity, or whatever? I think we're going to see it go both ways. Kind of interesting. So there you go. That's the world as it is. We live in really cool times. I still think when you're seeing things like this just happening, you're really early to the space. Forget the last 13 years. They don't mean that much. You're here. You're where you are right now, that you just make the best decisions from here. All right, Brandon, should we tackle a couple of questions?
Dude, we got some really good questions today. Paula G.
Let's do it.
How often do you transfer your coins in your private wallet after dollar cost averaging in on an exchange?
Whenever you feel like you have too much on there. Transactions are pretty cheap. Just make sure the transaction fees aren't blowing you up.
Yeah, this is one of your daily reminders. Don't keep anything on an exchange for any reason, almost ever. So this is it.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain exchanges that I trust. I trust, and I'm not telling you to trust them. I trust Coinbase. I trust Kraken. I trust Nexo. So I'm okay with a certain amount of my assets, not all of them, a certain amount of my assets, but 90% of my currency units are not on exchanges, right? They're on private wallets that I manage. So yeah, whenever you feel uncomfortable, whenever you lose sleep, it's time to roll out. Next question.
Fair enough. Minnesota Tim here. Oh, this is a good one. Minnesota Tim. Okay, here we go. You still
Do we have to make an apology?
What? Topology? What? Oh.
Do we have to make an
You dork. Do you still like the 3 hyper coins for long-term hold?
Yeah. Why do we say hyper coins? That was a funny term that we kind of grappled with. But there are certain of these infrastructure plays where we just think they have a ridiculous amount of opportunity. You say hyper coin sounds stupid. Well, we were kind of thinking like, well, what do we call these things? Because I thought, well, hyper coins, I didn't like the term at first. But it started to grow on me because you have supercars, which I'm in the car business, right? My buddy and I, we rent exotics. And then there's hypercars, 1,000+ horsepower, which are dope. So you're like, okay, well, this does make sense. So you could have hypercars and hyper coins. I think these hyper coins are these things that could do a 10 to a 100x. And they're all long-term holds. Nothing that comes out of my mouth through AICI, IC, the American Institute for Crypto Investors. Nothing that you hear me talk about is something that I wouldn't or don't own. I'm not going to push stupid stuff because that's not what the whole point of this is. Anyway, yes, I'm bullish on all of them. I think the list is many coins. There's about 10 that I feel safe, that I think more than half of them have a chance to do, well, actually, I think they all have the potential to do, a 10 to 100x, which sounds ridiculous, but I've already nailed a few 100x's in the past. I think that we have even greater opportunity than we did a year ago, and here we are. All right. So yes, Minnesota Tim. I like you better than California Tim.
Okay, that's fair. Nick, what coins are you staking? Where are you staking them? Jim, thanks.
Everywhere and everything that allows staking at the protocol level, I'm staking.
That's a good answer.
Let's knock one more. Oh, yes.
This is the last question. Nick, can you evaluate the Exodus
I'm not a fan
format?
I'm not a fan of these web-based browser wallets, period. Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad, but if you look at the history of these things, they don't tend to fare well. It's too loose. It's too loose. I don't know who owns my stuff. I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. Maybe it's cool. Oh, you can get it in the Apple store or whatever. No. I like the wallets that are designed by the individual companies that represent those. I like Daedalus for Cardano. I like, I go as close to the goose as I can get. I don't want some big omnibus wallet that has all my stuff. Because if I wake up on a Thursday and all my stuff is Celsius, because it's a verb now. You can adjective it. I've been Celsius. To Celsius is to cheat. To Do Kwon is to steal. Right? Like, I don't want to be Celsius. I don't want to be Do Kwon. I don't want to be Exodus. I mean, the name Exodus, doesn't that mean like to exit? to like go? I don't want to give my money to somebody.
Movement. Yeah, it's a mass
We're the definition. We're the basically that you can read into the definitions to steal. It's like people that drink Evian water. I'm like, in a mirror that says naive, right? You get that. Steely, that sucks. All right, let's call it a day. Have a great weekend. Don't stress about prices. Again, do your 5 T's, right? Look at the team, the token, the tokenomics. Look at the technology that they're trying to employ. Look at the timing and ask yourself, why does this token exist? Try to make some kind of logic out of your decisions. Have a framework of critical thinking and game theory, and you will do good. You will do good.
Nick,
yes?
Before you say goodbye, right after you, we actually have Solid coming in from the back room. He's going to be doing a little special preview of his shop. This is going to be pretty cool. So welcome him into the room right after you say goodbye.
I don't say goodbye. I say good later. Good
later. Pew pew.
Good later. Pew pew. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk strung it on meth grandmother wouldn't do. Or Brandon. And he's not juicy and fruity and milk toast like Eric, but he is 151 years old. Just think about that when you're looking at him and you think he looks old. Just understand. He wears diapers. And on that note, pew, 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 pew.
Hey, you talking to the prophet. Hey, we talking condos and nice clothes and driving Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. Tried to drive on them house roads, but had to stay low. Now there's solutions to hard bills we couldn't pay for. I talked to profit to get some profit, we couldn't change the top. If it's a stock and I need a cop it, I wait for him to drop it. Ain't no option, let's get it poppin'. We chillin' in the drop. I need some crypto, put it in my pocket by any means I rock. This is the profit with Nick Black. It's time to